Well, he played hard, partied hard and fell even harder. John Swan, or Swanee, along with his brother Jimmy Barnes, is one of the best musical talents to come out of South Australia, but decades of alcohol and drug abuse almost ended it all. With the wild days now behind him, Swanee's still making great music, but in his extraordinary turnaround, there's a side nobody knew about him until now.
And there's a lot of drinking now, and a lot of that was free. Every night I had a rider in there. Was a couple of bottles of scotch, a couple of bottles of vodka. I would just move to the next lot of people who were drinking, and the party just kept going, you know.
If I were a carpenter and you were a lady.
It was a way of life.
Many of us remember John Swan's rise to fame in the 80s. For Swanee, however, it largely remains a blur.
Lady, what's your name? Can I walk beside you in the rain?
At the height of it all, how much were you drinking?
There was no highest or lowest. I just drank as much as I could and took as much as I could, until in the end I was doing it 24/7.
When you're a rock star, they say sex and drugs go hand in hand, but Swanee's battle with booze started well before the fame.
It was all gravel roads, brand new houses, gravel roads, and no schools or anything like that. And it was just brand spanking new, and we thought, wow, this is cool, you know.
It was 1961 when John Swan and his family, including little brother Jimmy Barnes, migrated to South Australia from Scotland. Revisiting his old stomping ground these days, Swanee likes to reflect only on the good times.
Inside there was where the very basics of our passion, our love of music started. And my parents used to sing in there all the time, you know, and everybody had to sing. You had to get up and sing and do your bit, and, you know, it was a good, healthy musical atmosphere.
Raised in this Elizabeth home, it was a childhood filled with music, love and laughter. And what sort of music did you guys grow up with?
Mostly what my mum and dad were listening to, which was Little Richard, Fats Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis, Mahalia Jackson, Ray Charles. You know,
and although the music never stopped, his world came crashing down when mum and dad went their separate ways. But it was what unfolded next that drove him further to despair and triggered his lifelong struggle with anxiety. What happened?
We were going to parties in North Adelaide, and somebody bet me that I couldn't scull a bottle of vodka, and they bet me some money, and I said, oh, of course I can do it, you know, like a 13-year-old trying to show off. And I did, and I finished up, I flaked out and somebody put me to bed. It was horrible because I couldn't move, I couldn't scream, I couldn't shout, and I was trying to scream and I couldn't move my fingers, they were just frozen solid. And from then on, I had problems. I wanted away as quickly as possible.
He was just 13, still a kid, when Swanee ran off to Melbourne with his rock band. And much to their amazement, they landed a dream gig, backing one of the country's biggest female artists of that time.
Which was great because it gave us a platform to play at on a level we would never have got. And we got to meet the Max Merritts and the Twilights and everybody like that. And they looked after you. That's where they became, I guess, like big brothers.
And fellow South Aussie, the late Jim Keys of Masters Apprentices fame, was one of them. Swanee even crashed on Keys' couch for a few weeks. But Adelaide kept calling, and Swanee eventually returned home to Elizabeth to join blues band Hard Time Killing Floor. Replacing Bon Scott in Fraternity was his next big gig, and that was when Barnesy started making his mark and took over as lead singer.
We're brothers, you know, that's the first and foremost thing.
And so you don't feel like you've been living in his shadow?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, Jimmy would tell you honestly that there's probably been a few years where I've been really resentful, but that's because of more my failings than his success.
And while Jimmy rose through the music ranks with Cold Chisel, Swanee embarked on his solo career before fronting the Party Boys. And that's when the drinking and drug abuse really spiralled out of control.
I couldn't stop doing it though. I knew that the alcohol was killing me and I still couldn't put it down.
It almost killed you.
Oh, well, definitely, you know, it really did.
How close were you to death?
Pretty close, pretty close.
With his entire body on the brink of shutting down, it's a miracle he even survived.
I hated me, I lost my dignity.
He gave up booze, drugs and cigarettes all on the same day. Throwing them away just 13 years ago has more than changed his life.
You can sit there in your misery and wallow in it, or you can start doing something about it.
Swanee's now using his experience to help others caught in a rut, and he's striking a chord with many.
But this was one I wrote as I started to find my feet a little.
When Swanee come through and spoke, it was just amazing. It made me realise if he can be down in a very dark spot and turn his life around and get back to be in a positive position again, so can I.
Coming to this course and hearing John's talks really helped change my life and frame, well, what I should do to continue.
What's the moment?
Yeah, I've got another one, thank you, Digger.
And Swanee's goodwill certainly doesn't end there. Almost every Wednesday and Saturday night, you'll find him serving at the Salvo's Soup Kitchen, just one of many charities he dedicates endless hours to.
It's probably the first time in my life I felt really good about being me.
And on top of all his charity work, Swanee has also found time for a new album. Not surprisingly, it's an autobiography of his tumultuous journey.
Like the fire, country will all be home tonight.
The album, aptly named after an Alcoholics Anonymous slogan, one day at a time.
This isn't my ego trying to talk about how much drink I've had and how much, you know, what the drugs do and how much money I've earned. It's how much I've lost and what I've gained by not doing it. And the fact is that if anybody thinks that they can't, I'm living proof that you can, you know, and give it a chance. Just try.
So this is not the end.
And Swanee's new album will be launched at the Marion Hotel this Sunday night. We'll be back shortly.